Welcome everybody to our BNI Talks webinar. My name is Steve Tenuzo, your host, and today returning two of our very favorites, Tom Fleming, Tiffanie Kellog, TNT, your favorite team, and we are talking about AI. This is our second AI webinar. We're doing one a month. We started last month. We did one with Andrew Peterson. It was kind of an intro to AI. This one is very BNI specific, which I'm really excited about. And next month, we'll be talking about all the other things that you can do with AI, like image creation and coding and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk about that later. But for now, let's turn it over because there's lots and lots to share today. So I'm going to turn over to Tiffanie and to Tom and talk about AI tools for BNI success.
Excellent. Thank you so very much, Steve. And we're going to think about AI as the easy button for us. The goal and the intention is to have AI help us out. And I think about AI instead of being artificial intelligence, it's about assist I, though grammatically that doesn't work as well. So it's assist me. So as we go through today, it's not replacing people, it's not changing things. Just think about now you have an electronic assistant. So what are we going to talk about today, Tom?
Well, first, I'm really excited about today's conversation because AI is new to many of us. Me included. And so I'm going to kind of ask you some questions today, if that's all right, Tiffanie, some queries I have about how to use AI with respect to BNI membership. And certainly if you all have questions, as Steve mentioned, pop those into the Q&A because if you put them into the chat, they'll probably be lost. So what I wanted to talk about today or this moment is actually our agenda. We're going to be talking about whether AI is perfect, and I'm sure you can guess the answer to that. We'll also be talking about why prompts matter and what are prompts. And then this is where we're going to get into how we can use AI for our BNI membership. We're going to talk about how to use AI for building your weekly presentations, building your chapter by design, creating introductions for your fellow members, as well as making scripts for your referral partners so you can introduce them to others. And then we're going to wrap up the conversation with how AI can help you create your referral cheat sheet, a very cool tool we introduce in our programs. But we're going to kick things off today with Tiffanie talking about what today is and what today isn't, if you will.
So as Steve mentioned, this is the second in a three-part series. So we're not going to get into the pros and cons of AI, Skynet, or any of that. We're not going to talk about the basics of how do you even sign up. There's that first video. I'll put the link in the chat. We really want to focus on how we can use it for our BNI membership. So keep in mind that fifth of the code of ethics. It's a positive and supportive atmosphere today. So positive and supportive, keep that in mind. And I'm going to be heavily focused on ChatGPT. There are other AI models. I think Bing has been doing a lot with it. I've heard Google's got something coming out. Steve's nodding his head with us. So please understand some of the things that I'm talking about ChatGPT could be applied to others. And they talked about that in the session last month. So we're just going to focus on ChatGPT. So let me introduce my partner, Tom Fleming. He is the other half of TNT. We like to blow up people's businesses by growing them, not actual arson. So just be aware of that. He's been supporting entrepreneurs since 1996 through BNI and Incentive. And I was doing the math the other day, Tom. We are getting close to 50 years between you and I of experience in this referral marketing world, which is kind of a lot.
It's mind-blowing.
He's the owner of the Vision Institute. It's a company that helps and coaches entrepreneurs on how to have that vision and make sure that we get there. We don't want the obstacles get in our way. So we want to kind of make things happen, overcoming those obstacles. He works with entrepreneurs one-on-one and in small groups. He runs a mastermind. He is forever looking to help entrepreneurs create that amazing business and spectacular life.
Absolutely. And let me introduce the other half of TNT. Tiffany's been a member of BNI since 2005. She's an E-squared graduate and also a graduate, obviously, of Ascentiv's Ignite Your Business, given that she's a master trainer for that organization. She's held almost every leadership team position within BNI. And you can also find her on BNI Business Builder. She's the co-author of the advanced training on powering up power teams. And she happens to be the most frequent guest on Dr. Meisner's BNI podcast, which is a very cool feather in her cap, if you ask me. In addition to what Tiffany's all about is she's written 3 books to help entrepreneurs grow their business by referral. She's also a massive collector of socks. And as Tiffany knows, I just got back from the Galapagos, and you may be getting a pair of socks in the mail, Tiffany. But that is part of her branding secret. When she's not working, she loves to tour the country and the world, tasting different brews with her husband, Rob. She also seriously loves her 2 puppies, Guinness and Harper. They're what, about 9 months old, 6 months old, Tiffany?
So our got 'em day, so when we adopted them, was Independence Day, July 4th. So they're probably about, we gave them St. Patrick's Day as their birthday.
Okay.
Made it
Okay.
up.
Yeah, but they're super cute, and Tiffany has tons of fun with them. And as you'll see through today's presentation, Tiffany is a bit of a science geek. So good stuff. I'm excited to have you here with me here today, Tiffany. So Tiffany, I have a question. Is AI perfect? Let's bust into our agenda.
Well, it would be nice to say that AI is perfect, that computers are perfect. However, that is not how things are. And so I like to think it's about progress, not perfection. I don't think there's anything out there that's perfect. It's always about progress. Though in a nerdy way, I was asking ChatGPT one day, tell me about different Star Trek characters based on disc behavioral style. And they said Spock was a nurturer. And I was like, oh, heck no, there is no way even close. Spock is like the most perfect example of an examiner ever. I mean, I get he's half human, but he doesn't show that side. He's all C or all examiner. So I'm like laughing. This was early on when I was using ChatGPT. It's like, yes, great information, but you need to verify. So don't think that just because it's there, it means it's perfect.
As an examiner, I actually love Spock, Tiffany. I'm not sure you know that. But anyway, when I opened up or shared the agenda earlier, we wanted to talk about why prompts matter. So Tiffany, first, what are prompts? And secondly, why do they matter? Tell us more.
Okay. So when it comes to prompts, these are going to be the instructions that you give the AI for it to give you its response. And so I figured, why not just ask ChatGPT why prompts matter?
That's cool.
Yeah, it is, except I'm like, oh God, that looks like, it's very cool for an examiner, that, detail-oriented type. So I'm like, you know what, ChatGPT, do me a favor, explain it to me as if I was 13. And then I'm like, you know what, let's just go super basic. ChatGPT, tell me why AA matters, why prompts matter, from the perspective of an 8-year-old. So Tom, will you tell us why, from the perspective of an 8-year-old, it matters?
I can do that. I can do that. Imagine if you had a magical genie that could do almost anything you want. But to make the genie do something, you have to tell it exactly what you need. So if you say, get me a toy, that's going to be too general. But if you say, get me a red toy car, the genie's going to completely understand what you need. And you don't even have to rub its belly. That's my little addition. So AI works like a genie, if you will. You need to give it clear instructions and prompts so it knows what to do. So using the right prompts with AI is like asking your genie exactly what you wish for.
So what do you think, Tom?
I can understand that. It's written for an 8-year-old. I totally get it.
So, talk about this, but one of the things I wanted to show here today is how you can play around with the prompts. So it was the same question, just asked in general. Let me see if I can go back. It was asked in general for a 13-year-old, for an 8-year-old. And so you can utilize that. Ask it for, I remember somebody on Facebook was like, how do you explain cashier's checks to a 13-year-old? And instead of me trying to think about it, I just went to ChatGPT. So you can use the prompts in that way. So this is our genie. And in the chat box, if you were able to rub the genie, what are you wishing for? What are you thinking you want AI to do on your behalf? There is so many cool things out there. So pop into the chat box. You're rubbing the genie's lamp. What is it that you're looking for? Now, here's an interesting thought. I don't know, Steve, if you know if it's an official seat available in BNI. However, I know there is a new profession out there called AI prompt engineers.
Yeah.
Do you know if that's an official seat yet?
I don't know if it's an official seat yet, but I'm sure that they are, as BNI is very much aware of what's going on and the importance of AI, and they're kind of figuring out for themselves. So I would not be surprised if that popped in soon enough.
I was chatting with somebody in this space and they say there are school programs, college programs starting next fall that we'll be doing. So we've got a few things into the chat. Our genie that we're going to have is going to help us with screening candidates, being creative for our commercials. What could be that 30-second commercial? How can I write my vision and mission statement? Sandra, good to see you. And I've got some really cool prompts. So Sandra's an Ignite Your Business graduate. I have some really cool prompts to help out with that. So that's not free today, y'all, but remind me and I'll send those to you. We can use them for great questions for a one-to-one, screen resumes to hire, initiate a referral program. So there is a ton of stuff here that we're going to use. Now, I am going to mention several prompts as we go through today. I have a page, so you just go to the Google form. It's here at the top of the list. Go to the Google form, fill it out, hit submit, and then the next page will give you a link to the Google Docs. It's got all the prompts that I'm mentioning here today. So we will get those for you.
Perfect.
And here's a few random ways that I use AI. Zoom's transcripts are a mess with timing and names and repeats. So I've got a prompt to clean up the transcript. I've got a prompt to create social media, email, YouTube, based on some information. Sometimes I need to say, take out the commas, take out the spaces, add numbering, remove numbering. I had a list of 20 keywords that I got, that they were numbered and on 20 lines. And I said, please remove the numbers, put it all on one line and add a comma so I could easily cut and paste it into the YouTube description. I use this one all the time. Check for spelling and grammar. I try to eliminate the use of naughty words, not, shouldn't, wouldn't, can't. And so I try to do that in my writing. And so sometimes I'll say, hey, take out the not, change the languaging around. Sometimes I need to simplify a process. It can help me come up with ideas on how to do that. Here's one. I've only had to do this once. When I was younger, I did this more, but I wrote an email because I was pissed, but I didn't want the email to sound like I was pissed. So I said to ChatGPT, please take the emotion and the anger out of this email and make it nice. I'm like, this is not as nice as I meant it to be, but you know what? That was the intention. That's what I wanted. And I was watching an episode of Deep Space Nine the other day, and I'm like, oh, the Ferengi have all of these rules for profit, and they live by them. And that would make a really fun business article. So I'm like, how can I combine Star Trek and business to create an article? So that should be coming out in August.
I'm so excited about that article.
Y'all, Tom does not do Star Trek. He is so joking there. Tom?
Yeah, so don't we want to get into how weekly presentations can be used in AI?
Yeah, so when it comes to weekly presentations, and I know a couple of you already put this in the chat box, this is something I've seen a lot of members doing. They go to ChatGPT and they say, hey, give me a 30-second, a 45-second, a 60-second commercial for my business whatever the profession is. But here's the thing. What I find is, one, they're more educational or informational versus referral generation focused. Two, they do have a tendency to be a little bit verbose. And three, they don't sound like you. Like I went to ChatGPT. Hey, I'm a coach with incentive. Please write a 30-second commercial for me. And I got this. And I'm like, who in the world uses bespoke in languaging? Like serious. And I use all kinds of random words. I like the English language. That is not one that I like. And then there was this other part. It's like, reach out today. Well, we're not selling to our BNI members. We're supposed to be selling through our BNI members. And so, yes, we can use ChatGPT for our weekly presentations. However, we need to put a teeny bit more work into it. So Tom, can you tell us a good format, a good template for a weekly presentation to get us going?
Well, sure. There's lots of different formats for weekly presentations, but I'm going to go back to the fundamentals and just speak to the format that's represented in the member success program. And this conversation is going to be important for what Tiffanie talks about next with respect to how to craft your weekly presentation. So back to the member success program manual, intro, name and company. I'm Tom Fleming with Incentive. I help businesses make more money, save time, and have more fun with respect to generating more revenue through referrals. Then I might talk about one of our classes that we offer, one of our seminars that we offer. I may speak about a success story of one of our clients. Specifically, I'm referencing an LCD, a lowest common denominator. Then I'm going to, very importantly, have a specific call to action or request from my fellow BNI members with respect to how to generate referrals for me. And then I'm going to close again with my name, company name, and memory hook. Make more money, save time, have fun in the process. So Tiffanie, how does all this relate to AI?
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This is in the prompt sheet. I just put the link back into the chat box. We'll have the QR code up at the end today. And so this is all there for you, not personalized. And so I'm putting in, I need a weekly presentation for my BNI meeting where my goal is to generate referrals. This is crucial here because it's not just education, it's about the referrals. I have the template that Tom just went through here. And so I say part 1, 2, and 5 stay the same. My name doesn't change. How I help my clients isn't changing. My close isn't changing. It's just those two, number 3 and number 4. So I have that here. The commercial should be no more than 90 words. I'll come back in a few minutes about why I use the number of words versus the time and don't exceed that. So I've got the instructions. I've got the template for it. And I've got, here's what they can plug in to keep the same. Now, this is going to take a teeny bit of work on your part. It's okay. I then pull my past weekly presentations. So these are 3 weekly presentations that I've done in the format of the template. So this is all still one template. I just didn't want to be like 3 font for you to hardly see it. So it's the same thing that I've got, and I just have examples, because what I'm doing here by giving the examples to ChatGPT is I'm teaching it the language that I use, how I talk, what it typically feels like. Then I wrap up the template. I wrap up the prompt. So here I have a success story from Jason Avery, who's been a client of mine for many, many years. And he used to work 6.5 days a week. Now he's only working 4. So I have this cut and paste from my testimonial section. And then I ask it to please complete the weekly presentation. You press enter and it does its do. Okay, it doesn't actually make any noise, but now I wish that it did. And it comes up with my weekly presentation. Now, again, I'm looking at this and like, I don't use the word toiling. I mean, I could, but I don't. I don't want to say, do you know a business owner, because it's too generic, but this gives me the basis and the foundation for me to be easily to make a couple changes. Instead of toiling into work, instead of business owners, I have trades company. And so I'm able to really take the content that I've got, edit it a little bit to come up with a very powerful weekly presentation. What's going through your head right now, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, this is very cool because I know people struggle sometimes from week to week. You know, how do I keep my weekly presentation traditional but fresh so that over a year's time, I'm literally training my referral partners how to be part of my sales force. And this seems like a little work up front, which is fine, because in the end, it's going to save us some time. I especially like the fact that it's going to write in our style over time as we're specific with it. And I also like the fact that I can post prompts into AI and come up with ideas that maybe I haven't thought of or I'm not thinking of off the top of my head in terms of creating content for my weekly presentation. So all of this is very exciting to me.
Yeah, and I think that if you're needing ideas for what could be your LCDs, that could be a great thing to ask ChatGPT. So instead of you saying, write the commercial, what could be 2 or 3 good topics? What's going through your head, Steve?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm thinking that is that I love is you can save, actually ChatGPT will save all your chats. So if you've done all the work of training the AI on how to talk like you can always go right back to that one link and just start with right in the middle of things and put in your prompt for the week. And it's already going to know that it needs to talk like you. And it's got all those instructions on there. So that's a good thing to save. So rather than thinking, oh my God, every week I got to teach this thing how to talk like me, you don't. It's already there.
Yeah, because GPT does limit how much content you can put in. I can easily put in 1,000 words, but if I want to put in my 20,000 word book, it takes me a long time because I'm having to put it in piece by piece. But because it's saved, then I can say writing in the same style as my book. Or even if you just have 3 or 4 articles that you've written in the past, you can utilize that and teach it. Great point.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Steve. I've learned something new today, so that's fantastic. Thanks for your input there. So Tiffanie, you had mentioned something before about asking ChatGPT to focus more on word count than timing. Explain that a bit, if you would.
Okay. So I'm really excited to introduce, this is another piece of AI that I don't find as many people are using.
It's a different platform, right?
It's a total different platform.
Okay.
It's still AI, and the how you spell it and the website is down there in the lower right-hand corner. I think about this as kind of Toastmasters and then some. And so I love this because right now it's free, which is crazy ridiculous. And it will help you be a better presenter. So you can go on, sign up for free, and there's a section where you can practice. So I took that weekly presentation that I shared a couple of minutes ago about Jason, and I practiced it on AI. And then I get the analytics. So it's got this section here, it gives you a transcript. And then over here, it's going to give you, let me make it bigger for you, some analytics, and it looks at things like word choice. So I had, during that time, 2 filler words, one, one, you know. Luckily, I had 0 non-inclusive words. I always laugh what it picks up for non-inclusive for me. Like I said, crap, and that apparently is non-inclusive. Guys, it did recommend me changing that. That one I get. Crazy is one that I wouldn't think of as being non-inclusive, but apparently it is. So it's looking at that. It's giving you keywords. So it is picking up lots of fun things. I often will look at what are my weak words. I'm notoriously bad at repetition, so I'm able to check that out. And here's what's cool. I now am aware of these things and I can work on fixing them without having to watch the video of myself and count, without having to go to Toastmasters and get the feedback. The Toastmasters people that I've talked to are totally loving this. I highly recommend Toastmasters. It's a different set of skills, but this can be great for your practice. It also takes a look at your delivery. So I had pretty decent eye contact. Smiles, I don't think I've ever had a bad smiles. For me, that's just an accessory I wear very often. What is my loudness? So am I too loud? Am I okay? Am I too soft? It also was saying what could have gone better. My summary could have been a little bit better. And it was too fast, which is 100% always true. I'm going to come back to that though. Additionally, it has your speaking insights. So what I enjoy about this is here's what the key points your audience took away. This isn't 100% accurate all the time. It's AI. Remember, it's not perfect, but I can look and see, is the message that I wanted heard what's coming through? Because if the main thing I was looking for isn't there, I might need to think about rewording it. It also gave me an idea of how I could change the wording to make it better. Though, again, like, because it's instead of saying assentive, which isn't a word other than the name of the company that Dr. Meisner started, it said incentive. So there's that goes through it, but it's a great tool. And I'm working really hard. So I'm averaging about 174 words a minute currently, which is down from 195. I would like to get it in the 160s, but progress. Like I'm working to slow down. I'm just a fast-paced person. And so Udly does all of this for us. And so that's why I figure out what's my words per minute. And then instead of saying 30, 60 seconds, I can say how many words I'm aiming for. And I've changed my 90 down to 80 because I'm, again, trying to slow it down. Tom's is going to be way less than mine. Just how it is.
I think, this is going to be really great for people who have a fear of public speaking and don't know what to do when they get up in front of the room, to be able to do this in private and get feedback from a disembodied voice that is going to be your coach. I think it's perfect for that.
Yeah. And like, I highly recommend, if you're trying to be a better speaker, to watch yourself. However, that takes some, you got to have a little bit of sturdiness in yourself to be able to do that. So how many of you, give me a 1 in the chat if you're like, I am totally in love with what these prompts can do. I'm totally in love with this idea of the free AI. And yes, you can use it for your weekly presentation, your featured presentation. Maybe you're giving the purpose and overview this week and you want to practice. Perhaps you're giving the educational moment. And I do have a prompt for an educational moment on the sheet that takes a BNI podcast and turns it into a teaser educational moment with a couple questions for the members to ponder and then go listen to. So we've got a lot of ways that we can use it. And before I get back to ChatGPT, one other random tech thing. Now, I apologize in advance, this ain't free. However, it's $40 a year. And for me, it is so worth it. I signed up for the free 30-day trial thinking I would never actually pay to use it. I was like, this is the best $40. I get a report each week from Text Expander that tells me I saved 35 minutes this week. And here's how Text Expander works. Essentially, you're creating cheat codes. So if I want to tell ChatGPT that I want you to check this for any spelling or grammar errors, I can type a couple of letters and it pops it up. I use lots of emojis, but I don't want to have to go and find the emoji button. So ESM gives me a smile. E-wink gives me a wink. E-wave gives me a wave. You know how you have to remember all those websites sometimes? I can just put in my codes. So ZW means it's a website, and then it pulls it up. Oops, how do I spell it right? And then how many of y'all go to meetings? Maybe it's your BNI meeting, maybe speed networking, and you want to put all that information in the chat. So I just have Zoom call, and it pops up all of this information just from a couple letters. Like I think about, you can do Control F or Shift P or whatever. It works that way. So this is just ones that you can create, and then have ones that are natural. That's a great way to save you some time. I figured it's not AI. However, I found it to be amazing. Textexpander.com. Again, it's $40. It's not free, but I'm like, it's less than $1 a day. And if it can save me 35 minutes, I'm all about that.
It's like creating your own shorthand for maybe your company name that you're constantly typing over and over again. Or yeah, words, concepts, phrases that you're constantly using. That's cool. Yeah, excellent.
So last thing I want to do on weekly presentations, let's get back to ChatGPT. Social media is an amazing place for us to share and talk about our business, though sometimes we're thinking, what is it that we want to say? How do we want to say it? And so I've got a prompt that says, take my weekly presentation and turn it to share into a Facebook post. Now, I'm a believer that Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, you use different languaging because they're different platforms, just like I network differently at BNI, the Chamber, and Rotary. So I have them done differently. Again, this is all in the prompts. And it comes out with, here's a Facebook post based off my weekly presentation. And let's say I don't want to post it for my personal page. I want to post it for my business page. I just say, share this as if I'm attentive. And there it goes. Woo. It's like it will take care of it. And so I have separate prompts for Facebook, LinkedIn, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, but I also have one prompt that does it as a bunch. So it'll give you all three in one prompt. And the reason that matters, so do me a favor, give me a $sign in the chat box if you're paying for ChatGPT or something similar. Give me a 0 if you're getting it for free. Steve, what are your thoughts on the difference between paid versus free?
I think that the more you use it, you may want to consider the paid version. However, if you're just starting out and testing it, I would go free. There's no reason not to.
Cool. And I just wanted to answer really quick in the chat box. Randy Clark asked, how is the shortcut different from an autocorrect? I don't know if you can make autocorrect to do all of that. If you can, then maybe there's a free way to do it. I just use the text expander because it works as an app. So great question that I don't know the answer to. And it works on anything. Like I could do it in the whiteboard. I can do it in the chat room. And it does look like, Steve, we've got a few people in the chat that are spending the money for it. Right now it's $20 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what I like about the paid version is two things. So I'm answering your question, Cheryl, that you put in the chat. ChatGPT for free is version 3.5. Paid, you can do 4.0. And I have found a dramatic increase in accuracy and just being better. I have found 4 to be way better than 3.5. It's slower.
It's a big upgrade.
Yeah, huge upgrade. It's slower, but it's better. And with the free version, you may sign on and it'd be like, we're busy right now, come back later. I mean, it says it much cuter than that. Like, here's a haiku on why you're busy. Here's a meditation to do while you wait. With the 4.0 version, you don't ever have to wait, though they do have a cap, Gino, of you can do 25 prompts within a 3-hour time frame. I've only bumped up against that like once, maybe twice. Typically, I'm not using it that much, but that's why I have in the prompts, here's the 3 prompts for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Insta together instead of them being separately. You'll see I have one prompt that I'll get to in a few minutes. It's like 8, write me 8 messages. And so it just gives them to me. So it's only one prompt that I'm using, even though it's giving me 8 responses. All right, where are we at now? Oh, Tom, what's going through your head?
Yeah, I'm sure all of our minds are being blown a little bit here. And I'd love to get the participants' feedback here today. Type into the chat, mention in the chat, what's kind of going through your mind with what we've discussed so far today? How can AI support you with making more money, saving time, and having some more fun with respect to your BNI membership? We just get a wow from Craig in the chat. That's cool. Jody, you can't wait to start using ChatGPT AI to improve her weekly presentations. Gary says, I can see how you use this. How do we use it to benefit our chapter? Oh, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. That's exciting. It's going to save so much time. Yeah, a lot of stuff rolling in here. So fantastic. I'm glad you all are kind of embracing this concept. Sure. Tiffany, I know there's a few other things that you wanted to cover before we wrap this presentation up, if you will.
Yeah, so the next thing we want to talk about is using AI to build your chapter by design. However, Tom, I don't know if that's a regional thing that you and I are used to that languaging, or if everybody else knows it. So could you give us just an overview of what I mean by building your chapter by design?
Yeah, I mean, building a chapter by design is about being conscious of the professions you're putting in your chapter with respect to contact spheres and power teams. So often I see members that they don't have a power team in a chapter, or they have, a power team of 2 or 3. What would it be like? What could it be like if in your chapter you are in a power team of 6, 8, 10, 12 members that served your exact same target market, but didn't compete with you, which is the definition of a contact sphere. How can we use AI, which was actually one of the questions just posed in the chat, to help our chapter? And I know, Tiffany, you wanted to have a discussion with us around that.
Yeah, so if you're trying to think, who should I invite to my chapter? The basic way to do this is to say, here's my profession. What seats would be good to invite? What are good referral sources? Now, if we take this to the next level, Danielle Rush, who's a coaching client of mine, she's an amazing yogi and health coach. She loves to talk about Lucy, which is her ideal client. Lucy knocked on our door last year. Her name was Lucy, tripped her out. But so I was able to take, not only before, I just said, based on this profession, who would be a good fit? But once I was able to take that ideal client and put that in, I got better results of here's who would be a good fit. Now, if you're a contact sphere or a power team of 1 in your chapter, I am sorry, we will want to get you more people. Now, if there's other people in your chapter, I said, okay, who else is in Danielle's chapter? You have Carolyn, Grace, Jody, Marianne. And so I put all that in, and then it gives me a list. And I asked for you could ask for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. And so to me, we really can come up with some creative ideas. And sometimes there are people that are on the list. I've been doing this exercise with the people in the Ignite Your Business program. And we've come up with some things that I didn't even know was a profession. Like, everybody's knocking on the door of the banker, of the CPA, of the realtor to say, be my referral sources. But there's some professions out there that are like, I didn't even know they existed. So they're not getting invited to BNI as often.
Interesting. So what you're saying is we got to be specific to be terrific.
We've heard the phrase before once or twice, Tom.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I love this stuff.
Anything else, Tom, you want to talk about here?
No, I'm just in awe and amazed, and just kind of have all these ideas rattling through my head, if you will.
All right. Okay. So another thing that I love to do on AI is creating those introductions. And so I was recently meeting with a referral partner. This is not the referral partner. This is a stock image. But I was meeting with a referral partner, Sean Yesner, who is a bankruptcy attorney. And in chatting with him, he said, hey, I'm looking to meet CPAs. So I went to LinkedIn. And this kind of goes back to what Tom just said, be specific to be terrific. If you said to me, anybody you know, Tiffany, I don't have anything to search. But with CPA, I can go in here and search and say, okay, I've got 182 results. Doesn't mean that they're all going to be a good fit, but I have 182 CPAs that show up. And I'm like, all right, let me see. You know what? I know Pam. I'm going to send Pam a message. What do I say? So in the one-to-one, I asked Sean some questions, got his information. And so this was the 8 prompt list that I mentioned, because it says, give me a Facebook message, a LinkedIn message, a WhatsApp message, an email message. And again, I do everything differently because I want to respect the forum that I'm communicating with people on, just like I'm going to network at BNI different than the chamber, different than the women's group. And so I have them all listed. If you're lazy and you want to do them all at once, whatever. I ain't gonna argue with you on it. But I fed the prompt into ChatGPT and it gave me this. Now, this was a little long. I actually said, do me a favor and cut this in half as I came up with the message. Now, take 10 seconds. And I said, hey, Pam, how are things in Gainesville? Almost ready for football, because Pam happens to be a big Florida football fan. So I'm like, let me personalize it a little bit, and then I'll get into talking about Sean. Now, while I was on Facebook, while I was doing this, I'm like, why don't I just make a post about Sean and put it on my LinkedIn page? So I tagged him here, talked about what he does. A lot of this information is things that I had asked him. And so I'm able to create this. Super easy.
This makes things so much easier. I know a lot of us get stumped with these things. Yeah, how do I write up an introduction for someone else? Or how do I write up an introduction for myself that I can pass on to my referral partners so that they can promote me effectively?
All right. And Kayla, I love your question. Will you put it in the Q&A so we can get to it at the end, please?
Tiffany, I know you've got a little disclaimer about all of this.
Yeah, so I was talking to Sean, the gentleman that I was writing all of this for, and in chatting with him, it wasn't perfect. There were things that he would have liked to change, not exactly said the right way. So what I highly recommend, what Tom and I love to share with people at Ascentive, is we want to make it easy for our referral sources to refer us. So if you know that you want people talking about you in this way, what if you had the scripts? So maybe you use ChatGPT to get you the basis, the framework, the rough draft of your email introduction, of your Facebook post, of your LinkedIn post, so that your referral sources can just go cut and paste. And that makes life a whole lot easier. And that, again, is the name of the game.
And I think, this, all of what you're presenting here reminds me of what you opened up with, AI, assist I, or assist me. It's not perfect, but you do have your own personal assistant, which can support you. And as we begin to close for our time today, Tiffany, I know we want to quickly talk about the concept of a cheat sheet, right? And how people can use AI to create a cheat sheet for themselves.
Yeah, so Tom, what is a cheat sheet?
Sure. So we all know that when we do a one-to-one initially with someone, we want to use the gains profile. Well, maybe late in that one-to-one, or even your second one-to-one, you want to begin training your referral partners to refer you, to be able to refer you. So this is an example of Tiffany's cheat sheet. You'll notice she's got her lovely picture there, and then a form of her letterhead there, her contact information, company name. And then you notice she's got two blocks there. What does her target market consist of, and what are her contact sphere relationships? Going through this is going to teach your referral partners how to refer you now, where they can say, oh, I know someone in your target market I can introduce you to. I know someone in your contact sphere that I can introduce you to. And then what's on the balance of the sheet trains your referral partners how they can support you with generating referrals over time by creating things to listen for, things to look for, conversation starters, funneling conversations, and then how to overcome common objections that you receive in your business. AI can actually help you create this sheet, because I ask business professionals all the time, what are some conversation starters I can use in generating referrals to you? And they get stumped. So use AI to create this training tool, one of the cool tools that we present in our programs. And Tiffany's going to walk you through how to do that right now.
Yeah, and just something as simple as you go to AI. This is Armand Williams. He's one of our Referrals for Life community members. I got the name of his company, his kind of what he does for his clients, and the profession. And it spits out to me some of the clues that would be there for us. Again, it's a starting point, and so then you can make it into your full and complete cheat sheet. And so you can do all of that here. And yeah, like Tom, you mentioned, it's assist I. This is meant to assist, not to replace. This isn't about let's have it come in and do everything for us. It's a tool to help us out.
Yeah, so we've talked about how AI can assist us not only in developing our contact sphere relationships, but also how to help us come up with information that we can use to train our referral partners on. Certainly makes our lives easier, saves us some time that we can put towards maybe having more one-to-ones or generating referrals for others so that we position ourselves to receive more referrals. So Tiffanie, let's begin to wrap this conversation up, if you will.
Yeah, so do me a favor in the chat box. What are your top takeaways? What are your top, I like to say, will do's? What are you going to do as a result of today's conversation? As you're putting that in, here again in the website, I put it in just a moment ago in the chat. I'll put it in the chat box again. It's bit.ly/BNIAI. It's got all of the prompts. It also has a link to my cheat sheet that you can download. I just saw somebody in the chat asking for it. It's a Google document, so it is a living thing, and I will continue to add. So check it out. And then just coming up, just so you know, on Monday, join Steve and I at 10:15 a.m. We're going to be live on Facebook and LinkedIn talking about creating success for your BNI chapter using the SWOT. And then I'm starting a book club Mondays afternoon at 3, reading a chapter of You Are a Badass at Making Money. Now, for our closing quote, and then we'll get to the Q&A and all that, I asked ChatGPT, give me a closing quote. And I'm like, this is not what I was looking for. This is crap. So I had to change my prompt. There I go. I used crap twice. I'm going to get you bounce me twice for non-inclusive. I was like, this isn't what I want. Change the prompt, and this is what I got.
The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible.
And that's our content for today. And I'm going to turn it over to Steve to help us with some Q&A.
All right, let's jump in. We've got a few good questions. So let's see what we've got here. I'm just finishing up. I'm saving the chat for those of you who asked, and I'll post that in. I'll put the save chat into the chat in just a second. But for Q&A, let's see. Phyllis is talking about it could help with creating a tagline for your business. That's a good idea.
Yes. And so Phyllis, what I like to do with that, and I don't have a specific prompt yet, but I did write it down when I saw your question. I would say the name of my company is, how I help my clients is, who I like to work with is. And so I give it some detail, and I'd say, what would be a very short tagline or motto or memory hook that's unique for me? Mm-hmm. I don't need to hear another IT support company saying we take the SH out of the IT, or the plumbing company, we're number one and the number two. I don't need to hear the same ones over and over again. So ask for it to be specific for you.
You know, in talking about that, I actually used that for a client who needed a tagline, and I was prompting ChatGPT, and one of the things that I realized is you have to say to it something really specific, like rather than just saying keep it short, say like keep it to under 8 words.
Yes. And
it'll get to that point. And I think that, you know, the more you kind of talk to it, chat with it, the better off you'll be in getting exactly what you need from it.
And I mean, with people, like I will communicate with my husband. I ask him a question. I don't get the answer I like. I need to think about how I ask the question and ask it in a way that's more conducive to what I'm looking for. So we do this on the human scale too.
Oh, by the way, I ran into a really good prompt yesterday on LinkedIn. Someone said, you know, they go through the trouble of explaining everything that they want, you know, ChatGPT to create for them. But he adds at the end, are there any specific questions you have for me that will make your response more specific and better? And ChatGPT will just turn around and say, yeah, tell me more about your experience in this field, or something like that. And so once you put that in, it really gives you something that you're looking for.
Love it.
As a copywriter, Steve, in addition to your role with BNI, I can see how this is just a fantastic tool for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a scary tool because it's really impressive. But at the same time, what I've learned is that this is, it is a tool. It is not the answer. You know, it is something that's going to get you to your answer. So it does make me work a lot faster. But at the same time, you still need that human there's not a lot of emotion in ChatGPT, even when you prompt it that way. So sometimes you have to kind of put that in, a little bit of soul, if you will, to get the best possible response when it comes to any kind of persuasive writing that I do.
Cool.
Okay, so a couple more questions. What AI is used to do the social media posting?
So I use the AI for as far as ChatGPT to create it.
Yeah.
I find most social media postings want you to post inside their own. So I don't use a Hootsuite or a HubSpot or any of that. I go individually to them because the Facebook fairies, as Hazel Walker likes to call them, which are the algorithms, they like internally posted content versus stuff from the outside.
All right, we have got a question that speaks to ethics, and that is, does plagiarism exist for ChatGPT?
In the way that we've talked about using it today, you should be 100% fine in how you're using it because you're adding in your flavor of it. On the other side, yeah. So Google, like if you're taking something that was totally written by ChatGPT, the algorithms, the analytics on Google's, I don't know how, but apparently they know it. And so I always recommend that you put at least a little bit of yourself into something that you're putting out, either on the front end or the back end, at least is my thoughts.
Yeah, I'll just say very quickly, the one thing that ChatGPT does not do is cite sources. So it may give you a fact and you're going to say, well, where did you get that fact? I'm going to be like, well, I don't know. We're just an AI. We can't tell you that. But I did find that people who use Bard and Bing are going to get at the end of their response some actual sources. So if that's something for you, if fact checking is an important part of what you're getting at for what you're looking for in your responses, maybe those are ones for you to try out. Okay, let's see. Tiffanie, is your referral cheat sheet a part of incentive training or something for all BNI members?
So we talk about it in the advanced training on featured presentations here in our BNI region. So we do offer it at the BNI level, though we go more in depth in the incentive programs and creating the content.
Okay, can ChatGPT indicate potential customer lists for a specific business?
So free ChatGPT is limited to anything that was on the internet before the fall of 2021. So it does not have a current representation, though I know some of the chat forums, even ChatGPT now, you can connect it and there's extenders if you have the free version. So it is starting to connect a little bit to the live internet, but most of the stuff is still running a little bit behind. And so it's not as accurate yet that I know of.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Is AI being considered a resource for growing new chapters?
I'm going to defer to you, Steve.
Yeah. All right. I will very carefully say no, not at this time. However, you know, when we talk about AI and BNI, we don't say it's like something that's coming. It's something that's already here. And so there's a resource out there. BNI is not endorsing any of this stuff at this time. However, they are aware that everyone is using it right now. And so if you think you have a way, an idea that's going to help your chapter grow by using AI, then definitely share that with us and we'll send it up the ladder and see what they say. But yeah, for now, I think we're all being very careful. I mean, this is so new. This just came out at the end of November of last year. It's not even a year old.
We're 9 months in.
Right.
It's like a baby has been gestated. That's all we've done. And this is what the impact's been already.
It's a big baby. All right. Do you memorize your 30-second presentation or do you read it, especially if you're doing different 30 seconds for different networking groups?
Tom has an answer.
I think you want to do what you can to memorize it. Although when I first joined BNI, I did it off a 3x5 card. When you memorize something, you have the ability to share it through the heart. You show your passion, you show your belief, you show your authenticity, which is much more attractive, if you will, and is going to inspire your referral partners to take action for you. Again, if you speak from the heart.
And I find that if you practice it 4 to 6 times, and if the first 2 and the 5th of the template are the same, all you're really practicing is that center section. And if I need notes, if I'm on virtual, I take notes and just put them right by my camera. So in case I need that sheet of Jason Avery, 6.5 to 4 days, I can pull that out. So those are a couple other tips.
Nice.
All right. Finally, will there be a recording of this presentation sent out afterwards? I had a conflicting meeting come up and I missed the majority of the presentation. Oh, no, not to worry. We do upload these BNI talks to our BNI Team USA YouTube channel, and that'll be up before 5 p.m. today, Eastern.
You're amazing, Steve.
Yeah.
All right.
You're a beast.
Yeah, yeah. All right. We are out of time, folks. We were supposed to end 3 minutes ago, but whoops. We try to give you a little bit of a bathroom break in between meetings. Not going to happen this time, but I hope it was worth the time. Make sure that you kind of get a good grasp of what this is. AI is not going away. It's just becoming part of how we work now. So it's an important thing. We will have a new one next month, as we mentioned. We'll talk about AI imaging and coding and lots of different things that AI can do.